Welcome back to America's Backroads, where I take vintage automobiles and drive them around the country. Now, some of my videos in the beginning are going to be in Eastern Tennessee, just as I'm getting used to coming up with a system here that works for everyone. Today, though, is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the car, and I'm going to be showing you, I'm bringing it up, doing a little minor service to it. Nothing really at all, just changing the fluids or adding fluids and stuff like that to make the car, being as safe to drive it as possible as far as the mechanicals part of it. I wouldn't want to do any damage to it. Now, it starts up pretty easy, and the reason for that is I've had a battery tender on it all winter, and same with the Morgan and stuff. So that's just something we do. And it's a wise thing to do that too. So we're going to go ahead and get it started. I'm going to back this out a little bit out of the garage. We're cramped in the garage here, and we're coming up with some solutions on that too, which I'll be talking about in a little bit to help things out here. But in any case, let's go ahead and fire it all up. Make sure it's all turned on. You got a little system here is a little different. We're in neutral. Let's go ahead and give it a quick the start of a push. It's on the floor. Amazing, huh? We've come so far, or have we? Anyways, put it up in reverse. It's a little knack to it sometimes. And let's go ahead, back it up. I'm going to take the handbrake off. Okay, let's get going. Shut it off. Turn the switch. Handbrake. We're good to go. Okay, so we're back in the garage, and I've got a little bench set up over here on the side, and let me show you what we've got. Okay, so I'm going to show you what kind of oils and things that we're going to use. Now, if you ask different people what they'll use, one thing I can absolutely guarantee without question is they're all going to tell you something different. But in this case, I'm going to tell you why I'm using a certain oil. Not that it's the best, because I'm not sure that's possible out there, but I do have reasons for using the exact combination of things that I'm doing, and I'm going to go through each and every one of them. First of all, Pennzoil. Why did I choose Pennzoil? Well, my father was a great mechanic beyond all levels. I mean, he rebuilt one of the first cars, I believe the first car to ever win Indianapolis. He worked on Rolls-Royce. He worked on at one point the president's car, back in the day. I'm talking, the 50s. And so they worked on a lot of different things, and he had a lot of ideas that he had earned over the years, and he had rebuilt literally thousands and thousands of engines, and he always swore by Pennzoil. He said it was the best oil out there, and he says Quaker State was the second. Nowadays you have all of these oils and synthetics and all of these things, and they're all undoubtedly good, certain by the standards that were around in the 1935 era cars. The other thing you're going to notice, and okay, let's talk about viscosity and non-viscosity oils. They certainly had them back in about 1935, and my father was well aware of them, and he said absolutely you should use a viscosity oil when you're in a climate that has big swings. You got to use a multi-viscosity oil. It's the only thing that's going to be safe for the car. But if you're in a climate that is pretty much the same, above 40 degrees, and fact is I have a 1986 Ford pickup truck, well, one of the the straight six, the big straight six in it, and with a manual with a granny on the floor, and right in there it says, hey, you can use 30 weight oil if it's going to be above 40 degrees, and that's basically the guideline. So if you're talking about above 40 degrees, you can use a 40 weight oil if your car was designed for 40 weight oil. Not today. today you shouldn't use that because no car is designed for 40 weight oil, but in 1935 was. Okay, so that's the concept on that. I could certainly use a 2050 or anything like that. You know, and many people will tell you that's the way to go. And if you want to leave a comment about what oil you think I should be using, not only will you be talking to me about it, but other people who might be reading the comments kind of could gain from your experience as well. Now, of course, another thing that you have to add today, because oils are different, you got to add zinc. Okay, and that's, you know, really true to even cars made in the 50s and stuff, or cars that get a lot of abuse, you know, heavy hard usage. You know, it's, you know, again, that's something. Now there's Red Line. The Red Line's not available in my area. I looked for it. This is Lucas, the Prince of Darkness of motor oil. What can I tell you? But anyways, so there you have that. Now, so this is 16 ounces. And they'll tell you to put the whole thing in. Some people will tell you to put half. You know, it's whatever you feel that you should. Okay, now the gear oil. Now that's another controversy, and people will have different thoughts on gear oil. Let's kind of look at that a little bit. Now this is 85 to 140. Now in the car it would have come with a 600W, but that's not to be confused with a 600 weight, because that's not what it is. These are SAE standards, okay? And if you can see it right here, okay, it's SAE standard, okay? And so the scale that they use is different from 1935. And so, you know, the 140 they say is pretty much equivalent to the 600. You certainly wouldn't want to put a 600 weight in your vintage car. You know, this would be for the rear end and transmission and stuff. So there you have it. That's my thoughts on it. Let me have it in the comments, because I know everybody has strong opinions on this. And but you know, I'm going to change the oil at least once a year, every springtime. Don't plan on putting a massive number of miles on it unless I do that trip across the country or something like that. I've got a lot of time now. Don't feel like sitting at home in a rocking chair, so I'm going to do something else. But in any case, hey, this is great. Let's go ahead and oh, by the way, you might think, gee, do you have enough oil? And I think the answer is probably, I got 2 cases of 12. Of course, I'm not going to use 2 cases of 12, but it is kind of hard to get. Now, 40 weight oil, if you're looking for it, and again, not for a car of today, but if you're looking for something like 40 weight oil, don't think you're going to walk into Walmart and get it. That's just not going to happen. Now, I bought this at Napa. No, I'm not being sponsored by Napa. Stop it. Okay, but you know, none of these things. You know, did I buy? I bought this at Napa. This I bought at another chain. I forget the name of it right after a minute. But in any case, you know, so I don't know exactly how many quarts it takes, 4 or 5, something like that, maybe 6. I'm going to find out by the end of this video. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey, thanks for the following along so far, and I hope I haven't bored you too much. Okay, here I am. I'm under the Ford. I've been busy while you guys have weren't around. I drained the oil. That would be boring for you to watch, right? Okay, but something kind of interesting is the drain plug didn't have a crush washer on it. Didn't have any washer on it, actually. I wasn't able to get a crush washer in the local places, so there's one that's plastic, but it's a nice tight fit. I had to run all over the place trying to get one that would fit correctly. Most of them were very loose, and I was concerned that, in fact, it might end up leaking a heck of a lot more. Maybe dangerously so. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got up here. See, there's a little dent under the oil pan. It's to be expected. And the size is 15/16. Give it a nice snug thing and collapse that plastic a little bit. Hopefully, I don't know, you know, there's a bit of oil underneath here. And the engine was rebuilt in the 80s, and it has only, I think, 12,000 miles since that rebuild. So quite possibly that might have been at least part of it. There's also a lot of oil back here on the transmission, but that could have been just blowing back when you're going down the road. In fact, there's pretty much oil here on everything. I have no idea if we're, you know, you can see the transmission. And we're going to have to top that up. I don't know if that's been leaking or not. It'd be interesting. And of course, we've got the rear end to do. But I think that's going to be the end for this video. I will do that coming up tomorrow. In fact, is what I'm going to do in the meantime is clean up down here a little bit and see if we can get an idea if this one's leaking or not. So, in any case, let's get out, and I want to fill the oil. But that was a crazy view. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our oil. So hang with me. I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got a little funnel. It's a little bit odd setup. It should work fairly well, actually. So good old Pennzoil. Now if you like castor oil or something like that, that's good oil too. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead. We've added all the oil, we've added the zinc additive, and so now we're going to fire it up, make sure we have good oil pressure, and take it from there. Let's see what we've got. I don't know if I can show you I don't know if the lighting is good enough for me to show you the oil pressure, but I will give it a try. If you can't see it, I apologize in advance. Okay, so we're in neutral. Let's see what we got. Yeah, it looks like we've got about 20 at an idle. Let me see here. Let me turn on my flashlight. Yeah. A little less than 20, maybe 15 at an idle, which is probably really good because 20 is, you know, halfway in the middle. So I guess you can see that. It's kind of at an angle. I apologize for that. I've got stuff in the way here. Got reflections, everything. But I think you can pretty much see that. And so that's all good. Okay, maybe I'll go ahead and do the transmission after all and double check on that and the rear end. Okay, we'll see what's going on. Let's keep it moving. Okay, so it's time to put grease in the oil in the transmission, or to fill it up to make sure it's topped up. I have no idea exactly what point it's at. No way to tell. You stick your finger in there, and if you touch it, then you got enough. I haven't done that. I'm just assuming that it's low. So you can buy these little pumps, and I don't know how this is going to work out, but it's in an odd place. So I think it'd be really hard. They have all kinds of things that you can buy to squeeze collapsible things and all of that. And I looked at that. There wasn't a lot of a big selection on the type of oil so I'd have to kind of like make do with something. But this is what I wanted, and I like the little pump thing, so rather than the squeezable thing. So in any case, let's go ahead and see if we can do this. I'm going to bend this back up for you guys. I don't know, hopefully you won't be too bored. So I'll adjust it accordingly. And so, in fact, maybe it should be over this way a little bit. And once I get the hose in there, I'll be able to see it. The light's kind of low, so let me stick my finger in. That's the way my daddy told me to do it. Okay, it's definitely got plenty in there, so it's not bad. Okay, let me go clean my fingers here. Actually, I should. What if I have some paper towels right here? I do. Okay, hang loose, guys. I'm going to be right back. Just a second here. We don't worry about being too pro on this kind of stuff because it's all for fun anyways. So far, no pumping. Okay, I'm gonna have to go see why this doesn't pump. Good idea, just does not work. Okay, take a little break. Okay, I'm back. So let's go ahead. Had a real hard time getting this started. It did not want to start pumping at all. Okay. Let's go ahead, bring this down. There we go. Which one it was now? That looks too big. This might be right. No. That's smaller than 3/4. Okay, I think that's it. That feels pretty tight. Okay. Let's go check the rear end out. Okay, so now we're finally at the rear end. But this is kind of interesting. I thought this would just be a socket size, and it looked a little too big for 3/8, which in fact it was. Not too good that. Sloppy too. And then here we have, you know, 1/2 inch. And that's obviously too big. So if somebody's watching this knows what I need, would you leave it in the comments? And I'm sure there's a tool around to do that. And I need to go ahead and check that just to make sure, because I can see it's leaking a little bit. After all, this is an original car. It's not been some kind of concourse restoration or anything. This is actually an original 1935 Ford. So that's that. Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and in a moment or two I'm going to do some final stuff, and then we'll see each other's next time. I'm going to talk to you a little bit before you go, so don't run away yet. Well, there it is. Pretty much got it all done. Need to add some lubricant to the steering gearbox. But other than that, pretty good in the rear end, of course. We're working on it. So yeah, let me go ahead and show you one of our garages. It's a tandem 2-car garage, so I guess that would make it a 4-car garage. I keep a tractor in here and a lot of stuff I have to go through. We actually have another 2-car garage, which has a lot of stuff stored in it that we're going to be going through. And yeah, if you're never going to use the stuff, you got to get rid of it. And sometimes, you know, a lot of junk has some reason why you need it at one time and you don't need it now, or maybe it had sentimental value to you for something that you were going to do that as it turns out that you're not. So there you go. So hopefully either that, or if we don't do that, we'll have to build another garage. One option is right on over there behind the Ford is a nice big area. I could build a 5-car garage back there easily, maybe 7. It'd be expensive, but I could do it. The other option, of course, is one my wife would choose, and a bit more practical. It's a 2-car garage next to the house, and we'll consider that too. But the most likely scenario is to empty out the other garage, get in things that we're not going to use anymore, and just do away with them. And because that's what it's all about. In any case, I'm kind of excited about doing this series. I plan on doing a lot of things, doing regular uploads, and I think that you guys might enjoy it too. I hope some other people would enjoy it, and you can give me hints about old cars, because there's a lot of stuff that none of us know. And I love old cars. Here's my Morgan over here. I started that up yesterday and just started up beautifully. I'm getting to know that a little better. Had to prime the carburetors a little bit to get it to start. But it's a wonderful car, and I love it. And it's got a beautiful little roar to it. And of course, what's not to love about that dash? You know, walnut dash. The big, beautiful gauges. And gorgeous. And this one here is more of a concourse restoration that sat in a museum for 10 years. So this thing is, I mean, it's the opposite of original. It's completely gone through. Everything is as you would want it to be, you know. If I go across country, I think I'll take the Morgan. I know it's crazy, but I would do it anyways. Everyone's going to say, you can't take an English car that far. You can if you're not in a hurry. And so it's got beautiful wire wheels. And it's just been sitting here for about 6 months. but we're getting ready to go ahead and bring it back out. Hey, thank you so very much for watching this video. For those of you who made it to the end, I'm really thankful. You kind of let me know if you think that this would be an interesting series for me to do. I would really appreciate your feedback, and hopefully you will like what I do. And thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Okay, I'll see you real soon again. Bye-bye.